just trying to fuck like me.
So what's the reason for the hating? Niggas with dreads calling themselves gods.
But white girls like Caitlyn,
And I'm cool with it.
interracial dating.
But I ain't about to hit no fucking speeches.
Just because I want to have some bacon, I rock and swerve.
That's why I can't fuck with coffee houses, man.
Get off my goddamn nerves.
And deep down, y'all know that I'm right. Man, shit, I'm about to
Kick some
Trick Daddy next
Oh damn!
poetry night.
I just thought about Trick Daddy.
Oh, please.
Don't know that, nigga. Yo.
But the hilarious thing though is that I got to start watching like Maul and Rory more with their podcast. But they was talking about that. Why is the title of their latest episode Lamborghini Doors?
No.
Yeah. I think the funny thing about Trick Daddy. So here's what I would say. I think that there are guys out there that like what they like.
Yeah.
I think the reason why it's such a thing with Trick Daddy is because he looks the way he looks and he's so crusty, and it really calls into question, well, who is actually
Who's
doing
doing
this?
it?
It's not so much that it's getting done, but it's just that who's doing
Who
it
is doing
and
it?
why do you feel so proud of niggas? Like, come on, dog. While we're just chilling right now, I will say though that it is kind of cool that you defy all the stereotypes about what kind of cars women drive when I see what you pull up in, because I'm like, I know I'm expecting shy, so I'm expecting a killer car, man. And it's like I see the Jurassic Park vehicle. It's
The
like
boy.
yeah, the boy.
That's the boy.
Okay, so so tell me, like if you could pick a vehicle that matches your identity, like what vehicle is shy?
My Jeep.
Your Jeep?
My Jeep or my next is going to be a G-Wagon.
Okay.
Matte black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Silver trim. I already have it planned out.
Okay.
That's my car.
I've
never been a sedan or like a Porsche girl. Lambo was a moment in time.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's above my pay grade. But that's what's up. Tell us about that.
No, it's the doors. It's the doors for me.
Oh man.
But no, my Jeep, Abe. Abe is his name.
Abe.
All black everything.
Good, he's out. Corvette, man.
Yeah.
Stupid ass. All right.
I like big cars.
That's what's up. And I mean, for me, it would probably make me feel safer and like more dominant. Like, yeah, try me. You will not. Oh, that one. That's all right. That one got to change the battery. That's all right. That's why you got so many. We got this one popping right here. So, wow, I can't believe I had all these questions. I was supposed to ask you about being biracial. I was supposed to ask you a bunch of shit.
Bring them.
Okay. All right. We're going to skip 2 truths and a lie. Let's go to
2 truths and a lie.
Yeah. So, tell me about your upbringing at Aliquippa. What challenges did you face growing up there?
All right. So for y'all that don't know where or what Aliquippa is, so Aliquippa is one of the best cities, I believe, in the tri-state area. It is a small town in Pennsylvania. I think the population now is like 10,000. It's a steel town, so you have a lot of folks that have migrated there in the 50s to come work for J&L Steel. A lot of them are black families, so we have a heavy black population there. But unfortunately, like small towns like that, crime is a major thing there. So I always tell people, you know, when you're from Aliquippa, you get out a couple ways. You can get out when you get that one chance, that one opportunity to leave, or you get out in handcuffs, or you can get out, unfortunately, in a body bag. Thank to God that I got out when I had that one chance. So my parents are pastors, pretty dope people, if you ask me.
Right. Okay.
I call them hope dealers because they just had a vision for the community ever since I was a kid. Not only just to save hearts and souls, but also save communities and save, put houses over, people's heads and feed others and just help those in need. So I've seen that all my life. So that's what I believe, ingrained my passion for community. What you all see today is through my parents. Difficult thing. Okay. So my parents are in an interracial relationship. My father is Serbian. My mother is black. So that was a difficult thing growing up, because now it's kind of more common. You see more biracial kids. It's popular now. It wasn't popular back then in the 80s. So of course I had to learn how to fight. So I fought every day. Had to fight every day on a bus. And then I went to a predominantly white school. So then I had to fight at school because I was probably the only black kid in the class. So then you have are you black enough? Or are you white enough? Which one are you? And we were talking about that earlier with Drake, right? So that was a challenge. But one thing I can say, and a lot of people ask me this too, is like, you're an activist for Black Lives Matter and you do all this stuff, but your dad isn't black. How does that work? And I'm going to tell you. So my daddy, he sat me down when I was maybe 6, 7. And he sat me down and he said, you are black. Regardless of my last name and what I look like, people are going to treat you as such, and you're going to have to fight all your life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to fight. And that's what my daddy did. And so I never identified as being white or half African or whatever you want, a mulatto, whatever.
Yeah. I
was black. My daddy told me I was black. And that's what I went with. So my dad he was an activist as well. So it just trickles down, But that was really the biggest struggle, was being biracial in that time period. And then we picked up and we went to Jamaica, and that was a whole new world for me, because I was probably the lightest.
Is your mother Jamaican?
No, my mom had an orphanage there.
Oh, okay.
So we would come back and forth. So that opened me up to another light of colorism, and then also service. So yeah.
Wow. Well, I thank you for sharing that, because I think that what's really hard when you really start breaking down not only how white supremacy affects relations between white people and black people, but how it affects us intraracially, and how it causes us to put each other on display and to put each other under a microscope and to start looking at things like, are you really black enough?
Man.
And I'm gonna try to say this the right way, but what I would say, so I don't know if you were paler back then, but the way you look now, even if you never, because obviously the locked hair, that's like the final, like that's like the peak blackness right there. But even if you just had your hair however you had it before you decide on this hairstyle, I still feel like, to me, you were just always like a light-skinned black woman. Like I didn't really think about like, if you didn't say, you're kind of like, to me, and I hate to do it like this, but I always look at how you take 3 rappers. You take J. Cole, you take Drake, and you take Logic. J. Cole,
I'm definitely not Logic.
Right. I know you're not Logic. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. You're J. Cole, because with J. Cole, we never, if he doesn't tell us,
you wouldn't know.
No, like, and this is even before the hair, the free form locks and all that kind of stuff. If you just like him, what he speaks about, like certain people. And that's why we're learning that blackness is so complicated, and it's so hard for us to try to wrap our hands around it, because for you, every time you talk, every time you speak, not even necessarily the causes, but there's something about you that feels familiar. Okay, that's me right there. That's blackness. And it has nothing to do with the ethnicity of your father. Then you have Drake, who's somebody that is clearly biracial. And sometimes we question about him because he really doesn't bring up like black.
He doesn't. He doesn't talk much about it.
No, he's almost like, I hate to sound like this because it's going to sound like I'm coming at the Beehive, but it's almost like early Beyonce, because we know the Lion King music and we know the Black Power music, but we know that if you look at the majority of Beyonce's career, that hasn't been her music messaging, although someone will come back and be like, you don't know what she does for I forgot what the ward is in Texas, 4th or 3rd, whatever ward it is in Texas. You don't know what she been doing?
Third ward.
Yeah, 3rd ward. There you go. Like, and I got it. I'm just talking about the music though, because maybe if you were talking about some of those other things, that might have stifled you to a degree.
Oh yeah, from her coming up. Or, everybody has a moment in time where they're awakened. She might not have been awakened that, or driven to that extent where she felt like, I gotta speak out. You know?
Right. And I would say, and that's why I'm making sure that I'm differentiating between Beyonce, who we know now that just turned 40 years old, right, which is a big deal, because that means I mean, this has nothing to do with Beyonce, but Justin Timberlake's also turning 40. A lot of y'all born in 81 is turning 40 now, so you know what I'm saying. We coming soon up behind y'all. I still got a good.
But I'm gonna go slow though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just hit 35, so I'm just kind of like.
Oh, you're older than me.
Yeah, I think. What are you?
Or just a year. A year. I'm 34.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know if I really like the way you said, "Oh, you're older than me," but I don't know. Maybe that's
Because we were at Pitt the same time, so I thought we were just
right. Well, right.
we're relatively close.
Yeah, exactly. And this is how people do. We basically the same age. You know, that's how they do.
When's your birthday?
July 10th.
Oh no, you're a full year older than me.
All right. I think we've said that in so many ways. But
just for the record.
Yes. I'm glad we broke that down. But then just to wrap this part up, then you have Logic, who is someone who always talks about being biracial. And he talks about it so much that it's annoying. And I get it because I think initially when he came out, he was like young.
White.
Right. He was young Sinatra, and he's a passing black guy. Sometimes I feel weird calling him a passing black guy because I feel like you're actually a passing white guy. But whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know which term you will use. Now, is Logic's mom white?
I don't know his. I'm not sure. I know one of them is white. Clearly, I
think
forgot.
his mom is white.
Okay.
And in biracial communities,
right,
you could tell the difference too if someone's mom is white versus their dad.
So now that you said that, I'm wondering how differently you would look if your mom was white.
My hair probably wouldn't be as nice. Because if you look like, especially with younger kids, if their mom was white, their moms didn't know what to do with their hair. So their hair is usually damaged or heat damaged or whatever. And
just real quick, just so that we can be clear here, when you say nice, you're talking about the way that it's styled. You're not talking about the grade of the texture. No. I was about to say, you black activist. I know.
Just the style, guys.
Yeah, because nice, good.
Like healthy. Like from my observations and growing up, and it's different now because you have social media, you have all these outlets, but the younger girls that had white mothers, their hair was not done well.
Got you.
It was damaged.
Yes.
They would have perms in it. All
which
of that.
is harmful.
Yeah, but J. Cole's mom is white, so I don't know. I was trying to compare Logic and like everybody, but.
Right, and Drake's dad is black, so you're trying but I guess what it really shows is that we have no idea how you're going to come out looking because as I've learned, because I didn't really notice it too much. I didn't really notice it too much in Philly while I was growing up, but like now that I've been out here for 12 years, I've opened my eyes to understanding that biracial children and people can look completely different.
Yeah, completely. Some can be darker than me.
Right.
And then some, as it can pass for white. Mm-hmm. So I guess it is passing white.
Yeah.
I think that is the term.
I know he would probably have some something to say about that because I think with him, he also isn't embraced the same way as a Drake or a J. Cole. No. I think for Drake has undeniable talent and he's just really good at what he does. So he can get away with not really talking about the culture or anything like that. Not the culture so much. His connection to the culture to me, because I know his uncle was like a old school R&B singer, and Kanye actually sampled him on No More Parties in LA with Kendrick. So he sampled, like, I forgot what, it's something Graham, but he sampled Drake's uncle. But like, and Cole just looks like us. Like Cole looks like us. Logic doesn't. So I bring all this up because then we start talking about the activist community, and we know that the same way that I remember it was the woman, one of the co-founders of Black Lives Matter, she was being put under the microscope because it's like, oh, why is your house so nice and all this kind of stuff. Right. But then you also have another activist in the social
Don't bring
justice
it up.
community.
Please do not bring him up. Stop.
I'll just say
I'm leaving.
Right. Without saying the name of him, I'll just say that even though it's not right for black people to question the quote unquote blackness or ethnicity of people in general, like it wouldn't be right for me just to be like, ooh, where are you? Or something like that. However, with individuals like that, it does come up all the time, and it's just only one of many criticisms that people have. But we're not going to devote any time to them. But when you start talking about activist world, people calling you out and be like, wait, are you really what you say you are? I initially go to him because I know he is the type of person that is a lightning rod for that kind of criticism. I'm not defending or anything like that, because to me, like, I still follow him as far as I know what he's doing, but I'm not like giving money or anything.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think with him, you pick and choose what you know what you relate to with him. Like, I'm not totally against him.
Right.
I feel like some things he says is like, oh, bro, maybe you shouldn't have said that or did that. But some of his thoughts are good. I follow his wife. I was thinking about teaching at her school, or helping her develop curriculum for her school.
Oh, they're in DC?
No, she just had
a thing,
like an application process for educators across the country. But no, you just you pick and choose, just like you. And this is gonna be controversial, and I'm only doing 1 second of what I'm about to say.
All right.
Dr. Umar Johnson. Now everybody knows I that man. I just don't.
Right.
I just can't connect. But there are some things that I do agree with on what he says. Does that make me a Dr. Umarite? I don't know if that's the word, or Johnsonite or whatever. Right. No, it doesn't. But I agree with some stuff he says about the education system. And
as do I. And I think that, but see, the thing is, what you're doing, what you just displayed right there, is just having the intellectual agility to be able to filter out the majority, because it's like me with a Kevin Samuels, for example. I don't sit up here like quoting the dude all day and all night or anything like that, because that's just not how I see the world. However, there might be some things, as problematic as it is, because I was like, my last person I interviewed, we were talking, because she brought him up, and we were talking about how, only thing, this sounds, I feel terrible saying it. It was better when she was saying it, but now that I have to repeat it, it's going to sound worse as a man. But he has this thing called sexual market value. And basically, has nothing to do with your employment, has nothing to do with your intangibles, just straight up like physical looks. And what she was saying is that, and I actually agree with, and I guess something that he says is that it's okay for you not to be a 10, because most of us aren't 10s. And
it's unrealistic. But
the thing is, and just like there's another book, the Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, where Mark Manson is talking about, we've become so enamored with exceptionalism because of social media that we see either you're LeBron James or you're a bum, and it's like, no,
there's no in between,
right? There, and like a lot of things, sexuality, blackness, spectrum. It's a spectrum. Where do you fall on the spectrum? Not so much like oh yeah, like I'm either the blackest person in the world or I'm the whitest black person in the world. It's like, no, like, because there's someone out here that's a lot lighter than you that will get you up out of here if y'all had some kind of academic decathlon, just because your blackness doesn't, so to get into a different subject, your blackness doesn't come from your ancestry. Your blackness, now your dad and your mom, they had a lot to do with you pushing you to go on your own journey of self-discovery, but they're not the reason why they're the reason why you're ethnically black. But I mean, for that point, I guess you're just African American then, but you're not black until you read, until you experience
your intellectual abilities. Yeah.
Which is why when we hear a Tina Marie, which is why when we hear certain voices, it's not so much that they're trying to do something. It's like they're not Rachel Dolezal. Like they're like these are people that for whatever reason, when they sing, they evoke blackness, because we know that blackness, and I don't want to say it like anybody can have it, because it is kind of an exclusive club. But at the same time, I would just say that it is so nuanced, and that's why when we try to quantify somebody's blackness, I'm getting lost, because I'm saying all this stuff, but I know that I'm going to do it to somebody. I know I'm going to, even if I don't do it out loud, I know I'm going to.
It's ingrained in us.
Right.
We're used to that, you know, and not saying that's good or bad.
Right.
Yeah. But like we were talking about, we were talking about Jasmine Sullivan earlier.
Yeah.
But just like soul.
Yeah.
Soul is soul.
Yeah. You can't fake that.
You can't.
Nah. And which is why Bruno Mars, when we see him doing what he does, and because he's been vocal about, yes, this is where I get it from. Whereas when you look at maybe if it's a Justin Timberlake or a Robin Thicke, the only time we hear about you with that, even though I actually like both of those singers as far as some of their music and stuff like that. But as far as the reason why they'll never get the love that a Bruno gets is because Bruno is letting you know, like, I'm I'm positioning black people all around me. So when you talk about the hooligans, every time he's on stage, it's a bunch of black people with them. It's not like a Madonna type thing where it's kind of like, hey, let me adopt a black kid and let me just start. Or it's not a Miley Cyrus thing where we only see you when it's time to twerk and then out of nowhere you're going to leave us and then talk about, yeah, I don't know what y'all thinking over there in hip hop. I don't know what you was thinking over here in hip hop. You was right with us.
Somewhere in America.
Yeah, it's still twerking. Right. All right, so okay, my landlord just texted me, thanks for the rent. You are welcome, even though I didn't want to pay it this month. Because it's nothing like driving all day for Uber saying like, all right, I'm gonna make like $1,000. Yeah.
And it's gone.
And then it's like, oh snap. Oh shit, I was $200 negative. Damn, I just broke even. I got like $10 to get myself some coconut milk or something like that. Shit is real out here.
I get it, yo.
Okay.
I get it.
In 2011, you graduated from Pitt with your master's in early intervention with a specialization in autism and special education certification.
How'd you know that?
Please. What inspired you to pursue this degree, and how has your experience as an educator changed your life?
So, for the record, I was bamboozled.
Hoodwink.
So for undergrad, my bachelor's is in kinesiology. So I wanted to...
Real quick, can you give us a layman's term definition of what kinesiology is?
Kinesiology is study of movement. So I was exercise science kinesiology. So the goal was to work with athletes. I wanted to work with athletes. The goal was to work at Gatorade. I wanted to be the one next to the athlete on the treadmill with the pipes and testing their oxygen levels. That was me. Mm-hmm. That was me.
Yeah, that was you.
That was me.
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to work with children with disabilities and kind of like more in a developmental or physical therapy kind of environment. So I'm getting ready to graduate from IUP. Shout out to IUP. And I'm applying for grad school programs in that field that I want to do. So I applied to Pitt because they had a program called Developmental Movement. Now, what does that sound like to you? What would that include?
Movement?
Right.
Yeah. I wanted to think of something deep, but I was like, no, let me just keep it simple.
So I applied, I got in.
Yeah.
So I get there and my classes are all in. So before I get there, I spent the summer up in Trees Hall for the kinesiology program. So I'm testing athletes. I'm doing what I want to do.
Right.
I'm happy.
Right.
Then fall comes, I get my class schedule. I'm in Pausbar Hall, which is the education building. And I'm like,
that's not where
why
movement
am I in the
takes
school
place.
of ed? Yeah. So I go to my advisor and I'm like, I don't think I'm in the right program.
Right.
And so she's like, oh yeah, this is for, early intervention, children with special needs or whatever. You can work in the hospital, schools, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that's not what I wanted to do. And so she was like, give it a week, attend your classes or whatever. If you don't like it, I'll put you back up in Trees Hall. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, bet. I'm not going to like it, so I'm going to come back, see you in 7 days, ma'am. I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, God dog, I want to stay. So I stayed. And so I added I added an autism specialization onto my degree focus. And I stayed. So I guess it was God's plan for me to be in education. Didn't ever want to be in education. So now that I'm in it, how has my life changed? That was the second part.
Yeah, now it sounds way better.
It sounds good, yeah.
Yeah,
You closed off the...
Yeah.
It's like when you put the AirPod Pros in and you tap the noise reduction. Mm-hmm. It like zaps you into another zone.
Yeah, rich nigga problems. But yeah, keep going. Yeah.
So how did it change my life?
Yeah.
Being an educator opened me up to so many opportunities. So I was able to speak at the White House under the Office of Special Education with the Secretary of Education there. I was able to do that, create dope programming for DC and different nonprofits throughout DC to work with youth development and education, and then also work with my kids in the school. So I started off as an autism specialist and had an autism classroom for a few years in Arlington, and it just propelled me forward. So now I'm a student support coordinator. I'm not in the classroom anymore, but I help teachers work with their students and kind of model best practices for them and behavioral interventions for those students with special needs. So yeah, and so I'm sitting for my behavior analyst exam in a couple weeks. So that would allow me to consult with school districts to work with behavior.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I'm so glad that they have you there. I'm glad that you've been able to. It's weird. It's great because it's like you're representing Pittsburgh. You're representing Aliquippa, of course. You're representing your family, but then you're able to make your home in a new community, and you're able to pour in a lot more from what it's giving you, because I'm sure it's giving you a lot, but the fact that you're giving back a lot, that's really
Yeah,
great.
that's my passion. DC is home. Like,
Yeah,
Pittsburgh and Aliquippa will always be number one, but DC is like, yes, I'm planted there. And I never thought I would be in DC. I didn't want to be in DC. And just everything just
it lined up.
dropped me. As soon as I graduated from Pitt, they brought me down there. I was like, I want to come here.
Yeah,
And they were like, we're flying you out. Come for an interview. Okay.
yeah. I can do that.
And they gave me the job right there.
Well, that's
So yeah.
that's great. I'm glad that happened. So, tell me about a time when your activist mindset conflicted with your professional obligations.
Ooh.
That's what happens when you actually read the questions that you wrote down, as opposed to just be like, "Hey, yo, Drake's so crazy."
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Being in a school district where it's predominantly white, it happens all the time. So prime example, George Floyd. That happened. I'm outraged at work. People are still going to their day-to-day, through their day-to-day, like a man just didn't get killed on camera for the 12th, 11 millionth time, right?
Yeah.
So I had to educate the principal at one of the sites because she wasn't going to release any statement out to the school, who has a lot of black teachers.
Right.
So it kind of got a little heated.
Yeah.
Where I had to, pick and choose how I was going to respond if I wanted to keep my job or not, because I was about to let loose.
Right.
So yeah, it happens. It happens pretty frequently. At one of my sites, I'm the resident expert on blackness. It's like, and they don't do it deliberately, but they come to me in meetings like, "Oh, Shy, you probably are more familiar with this about behaviors with black children." Why? Because I'm black? Why am I the resident expert? Why can't you ask somebody else? So it happens daily.
Yeah.
But now most of the staff they know I'm an activist. They know what I do outside, so they kind of know how to come more correct with me.
Right. Instead of just like dumping problems on you, because I remember, I forgot what scholar came up with the term, but I did a fellowship at Pitt, and we had our orientation, and fellowship was the Heinz Fellows program at the Center for Urban Education at Pitt. And I remember this term came up, racial battle fatigue, and how you just really get exhausted with having to bear the burden of your race every single day. And in a world where Jay-Z or whoever can say Google's your friend, bruh, we still got people coming to you. They're not coming to you with, "Hey, I did this research. I don't understand this term. Can you clarify it for me?" It's like, "Can you teach me?"
They want you to feed it to them. No, do your work. Just as much as I've had to learn your history and I had to learn why you are, or how you are.
Right.
Do the same for me.